Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Opinion Machine, the show where we talk about all things gaming. My name is Killjoy, and today I want to give you 4 changes I'd like to see in the next Mario Kart. So something I've been thinking about for a while is Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. Great game, but there are things I'd like to see changed in it. So I've come up with 4 things that I'm going to go over with you guys now, and give you my explanations for why I think each of these should be changed. Now, these are changes to things that are already in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. This isn't stuff that's new. I have different ideas for that. So let's start with the first one. Probably a minor thing to a lot of people, but I kind of like the choice of it, and that is, let me use the coins that I get throughout my races to unlock the cars or the wheels or the gliders that I want. Now, I think there are a couple of ways of doing this. I think it's cool that each coin threshold you unlock a part, and it just gives them to you randomly in different orders. I think there's specialized seeds in the game, so you get one of those seeds, and that's how you unlock stuff. What I would like to see done is 2 things. One or 2 ways of this to be implemented is you have a choice of. It will give you a choice of each one. So it will give you, hey, do you want to unlock a wheel, a car, or a wheel body, or a glider? And it will give you choices, and you can pick from those. So it's a bit more. It's still limited, but you can pick. Or I like the idea of having a shop, and you have all the things in a shop window in the next game. Same principle, right? You still have to get the coins. You still have to do it that way. But now you can pick what you want. So you're like, hey, I don't really like bikes. I kind of just want to buy the carts first. And the game's going to give you more than. It's probably going to give you 4 of each, right? Kart, bike, and the ATVs. So, but I think that'd be really cool. It's really disappointing when you've got all those coins. It's like, hey, you've unlocked a new glider. That's great, but it doesn't have any differences in stats. So it was really cool. You as the player could go in the next game. You still have those coin thresholds. So the first one's 50, next one's 100, 150, 200, so on. So every sort of 50 coins, it's like, hey, you've got 50 coins. You can it's now available to go and buy a car part or a glider or wheels. Now, admittedly, I think it would work. That method, that every 50 coins, works better with here are the 3 items you can get this turn. Pick one. Whereas I think in the other method, if you're going to do a shop, then you kind of just have to let the players accumulate coins and let them spend it on things as they want. I do love unlockables. I'm a sucker for unlockables in games. I love that in Mario Kart there are a ton of carts and bikes. So the chassis, there are a ton of wheels, there are a ton of gliders. I love that, but I don't always think giving them random ones to people is great. I have a feeling they unlock in certain orders. But for me personally, I'm let me have the choice. Let me have the choice of picking what I want. Hey, that's a cool looking car. Let me try that. Or that one's got interesting stats. Let me try that. Give that kind of power to the players. And that would be cool. And potentially more customization on that later on. But that's getting into new territory. So just for this part, let me use the coins that I want to use and that I have on the parts that I want. And that would be awesome. That'd be a really cool change. My second change that I would like to see implemented in the game is do a better job at explaining what each of the stats means when you're picking your car parts. So there's speed, acceleration, weight, handling, and then grip/traction, depending on which part of the world you're in. I don't think the game ever explains to you what they are. There might be a tutorial thing in there, but it does a really bad job at explaining what, when you're picking your car, it'd be really nice to hover, be able to hit a button and it brings up and gives you a quick explanation of each of them. I know speed is kind of the most obvious, where it's this is the top speed that your car can go. Acceleration is how fast you get to top speed, things like that. But weight handling and traction or grip, do people always know what that means? Weight is the heaviness of your car. So it means when you smack into someone, the heavier you are, the further they fly. So that's fairly straightforward, but it doesn't explain it. Handling is about drifting, or partly about drifting, which is the higher your handling, the sharper the drift is, which is good or bad depending on the kind of car you're driving. And then the last one, which is grip, which is to do with when you're on non-road surfaces, how much speed you lose, I believe. And same with ice and things like that. But they're not clearly explained. And I hope going forward in the next Mario Kart game, they can explain what each of those things does. so that players can make better informed choices where they're like, hey, actually I just want to focus on speed. I don't really care too much about the others because I feel like I've got these tracks down. I want to do it in the fastest time. And then other times you're like, I kind of want something a bit more well-rounded, so I'll pick this kart, these wheels, and that glider, and that gives me a bit more of a well-rounded kart, and I'm kind of happy with that. But as it stands, it's very, very poorly explained, and I think it's something that should, considering Mario Kart 8 is a very newcomer kind of game, it's like, hey, tons of characters, loads of car parts, get them in the races, it's a fun, colourful game, but we're not going to bother explaining to you what these stats do. You just look at the bars, the further to the right, the higher the stats. Like, great, wonderful. So, would love to see that changed in the next game. Just hit a button to bring that up, that would be awesome. Next thing, so point number 3, something that I think is very obvious while playing this game is that when you have an item like a banana or a green shell, red shell, whatever, when you can hold it behind your car, it's far too easy to just sit there, hold that button and drive along and block an attack. I think they need to go back to, I think Double Dash did it, some of the other games did it, where you hold those items in the car. So if you get triple red shell, you hold them in the car. No longer are they spinning around you. Same with triple banana peel. There's no ability to... Basically, I want the ability to hold items behind you gone and replaced by you have to time it. So if somebody fires a red shell and you can see it coming, you tap the banana you're holding and drop it and block it. Because, quite frankly, there are too many times now where if you see somebody holding a shell like that, not only does it, like, you have to think about driving and avoiding them, you also know that if you gain a red shell, it's utterly pointless because they're just going to smack into that one. And I think it should be down to more skill. And this is for coming from somebody who does this. I tend to play quite defensively when I play Mario Kart. So if somebody sees me in front, I'm very rarely going to chuck the green shell back, the banana back, all that kind of stuff. I use them as defensive items to block incoming attacks. But it just feels super cheap, and I think it's something that would be better off being changed, like some of the old games. So hey, I pick up a banana, right, when as soon as I hit the button to put the banana down, I put the banana down. There's no holding on to that. You couldn't make an exception for triple bananas, you can make an exception for triple green shells, but I think everything else, like triple reds, anything like that, needs to be timing based and not just hit the button and hold. Like, I think that definitely sucks, and nobody wants that. Like, people playing against me and me playing against some of my friends and stuff, it's just not fun when the person in front's got 2 bananas or 2 shells, and it's like, oh, they've just blocked 2 attacks. So you just have to hope that a blue shell comes along, or a lightning bolt comes along, or something that is going to essentially bypass that attack. And you can do that with green shells. You can kind of do it with red shells, depending on the angle of attack. But all in all, it just makes it's just frustrating, I think, for some people to play against. Like, and me personally, it would be more challenging, it would be more fun if I didn't have the ability to do it. And admittedly, yes, I could just be like, I'm not going to do it, but I'm so used to it at this point that I need to, like, unlearn that habit. But I think going forward, I think it's better to just make it all skill shots. I get that it's meant to be easier for newcomers, but make it skill shots. Like, the items should be crazy things should happen when you get them. Not just, hey, I'm going to hold this banana behind me for the next 2 minutes and hope that nothing hits me. So, that's kind of that's probably the change I want the most. And this kind of goes into my number 1 point in the game, which is item balance. I definitely think Mario Kart 8 is very, very it's not very well balanced, but I think it's designed that way. I think it's very much designed to be chaotic as all get out. And I think with the next Mario Kart, I want things to be less crazy. I think the big obvious change is if you combine these together with my last change, don't give coins so regularly when you're in first or second. Bananas, if you're not going to give anything else, bananas are far more useful. But if you also bring in the fact that you can't hold them behind them, it means it's more of a challenge for the person in first place. It's like, yes, you've got the bananas, but now you can't just hold it there and block an attack. You've got to time it. Now, giving them coins did kind of allow for, to use up that item slot, but it is frustrating. You're in first, and you're like anything other than coins most of the time. You're like shells or a bomb or like bananas. You want to be able to. I mean, you could even add in a change in the next game to like encourage people to not hold on to items, but that again, we're getting into new mechanics. But if that was a thing, then maybe that would be better. But as it stands, like, let people have offensive items more so than defensive items. You know, allow them to use items that are going to actually actively try and influence what's going on around them. And I think giving somebody coins, like, sometimes I get coins so much, and it's just so annoying because I've unlocked everything in the game, and I know that the point of getting to like 10 coins is you'll be at your top maximum speed you possibly can. Excuse me. But it's not necessarily fun. People want the green shells, they want the bananas, they want the chaos to keep happening. Now, on top of that, I do think, like, you know, eliminate triple red shell. I think that can go. I think some of the most items can stay, like the piranha plant, the boomerang. That's all cool. But then bring back things like the mega mushroom. You know, get rid of the golden mushroom. I think the golden mushroom kind of sucks. I think normal mushrooms should be boosted a bit better. Give them an extra second or like half a second in terms of distance traveled, because I really hate getting mushrooms. Like, I find mushrooms suck really bad, especially the golden mushroom. That's like I think personally that's like the weakest item in the game, just above the gold coins. But I can't stand like mushroom items. I just don't think they're a power. I think the Starman's the same. Like, the amount of times I've played this game where I just don't think the Starman really gives you the boost it needs. Now, when you use it, obviously you're like, whoa, Nelly, like, I can drive maximum speed pretty much off the ground. Across not the track and things like that. But I sometimes just feel like it just ends too soon. Like, it needs a little bit longer on it. And most of the other items are fine. I mean, you can't go too crazy. Even the bullet bill was toned down from previous games, which is a good thing because that kind of felt a bit broken. But I do think the item balance as a whole, like, as much as I want to sit here and say get rid of the blue shell, you have the horn, you have other methods of dealing with it. It is kind of the great equalizer. And Mario Kart sometimes just decides you're not going to win a race because you're going to get blue shell right at the last minute. And that's fine. That's Mario Kart in a nutshell. But I think the items could definitely do with a pass on them in terms of, like, how can we make these better? As it stands, I think Bob-omb, great. Single banana, great. Triple banana, fine. Triple green shells, normal green shells, they could stay. Red shells, I think triple reds need to go. I think it's just, like, whatever. Golden mushroom, I think you can... you need to buff that item or do something with it. Normal mushrooms, I think you just need to extend a little bit longer on how far they go when you use them. You know, you've obviously got the boo, which is a perfectly fine item. Lightning bolts need to be toned down just a smidge. Sometimes they're just a bit too active. That's why I think, like, introducing the mega mushroom to run people over would be cool. Bringing that back. Even bring back the cloud if you want. Or the power block. There's tons of things there. But it just feels like the items just need re-looking at, and like what we actually need and what we can get rid of, you know. And it's something I would like to see done. I think first place, like, I get why you get coins. You're trying to make it more challenging for the person in first place so that you have more of a change of people in the race. It's more competitive. But I think giving that, in terms of my other change, somebody with bananas or a shell, they have the time to defend. I think that kind of would work out better. But all in all, I think the items just need a bit of tweaking. I don't expect the game to ever be properly balanced because that would be boring. But you could reduce certain items or change up some items and give more plants, more boomerangs, more fire flowers, stuff like that. Because those items are interesting. They all act differently. And you get that when you're in the middle of the pack. And obviously at the back you want the Starmans, the Bullet Bills, the Lucky 8s, things like that. Which is awesome, you know. But I just think too many reds, too many blues, maybe. Let's focus more on the items like the bob-ombs, the green shells, the bananas, possibly even bring back the fake block if you want to add something else in. I really like the fake block. Mega mushroom and the power block, bring those things back. Like, just mix up the items a lot so you have just significantly more. Tone down the lightning bolt. Do something with the mushrooms to make them better, and I think the game's in a better place, you know. I think maybe limit the amount of blue shells you can get per race. Say a maximum of like 3 in a race or something. Just do something with those. Like, you know, the horn. I think the horn's fine, but all in all, I just think that the item balance, depending on where you are in the race, just could do with a little bit of improving. in the next game, and we'll see. I'm sure they'll come up with some crazy new items or things from the Mario series or whatever. Like I'd love it if you got things like the bongo drums from like Donkey Kong. You like kind of like the horn, but now you can like you have to time it. So you, like kind of like how the gold mushroom is, you can like keep smashing it, but like time it, and you can like send out music waves to, like left and right of you, depending on which one you're hitting. I don't know, something crazy like that. Just some fun items that are a little bit different, that maybe just change the balance up enough to make it feel different. Anyway, there you go, guys. That is my 4 changes that I'd like to see brought into the next Mario Kart. I'll probably do another video on like things I want to see that would be brand new, but that is for a different day. So if you like the video, hit like. If you want to see more content like this, then hit subscribe. Links for Facebook and Twitter will be down below in the description as always. And until next video, I will see you then.